You heard it, felt it, and some of you had to be rescued from it. This latest batch of summer storms are packing a punch.
If you look outside tonight, you may think we're in the clear, but if you're in the borderland, stop for a few minutes and listen to the Storm Track Weather Team.
Doppler Dave is keeping us under an ABC-7 first alert. We could get hit again tonight. Doppler?
Yeah, we're still tracking some showers and thunderstorms. We have flood advisories across the area. We'll zoom into some of these storms and talk about how much more rain we could see. That's all coming up.
From southern New Mexico out to far east El Paso and the lower valley, we are tracking these storms like no one else can. This is ABC-7 at 6 with first alert coverage.
And you'll see this on air, online, and on social media only on ABC-7.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC-7 at 6.
We had a big gust of wind. It blew those trees down.
ABC-7's team of storm trackers covering the entire borderland all day long, from El Paso's lower valley, where trees were falling down in Socorro, and all the way out toward Deming, east of Las Cruces. Our New Mexico Mobile Newsroom crew was on I-10 between the two cities as the storm unleashed its power. Rain fell so hard you couldn't see the road right in front of you. Drivers had to pull off to the side of the road. And now we are tracking heavy rain between Las Cruces and White Sands.
Because of the wall and because there's no drainage, the water piles up excessively.
To far east El Paso, where this neighborhood was swallowed up by the rain. El Paso police helping with 13 water rescues around town. Just like the Storm Track Weather Team told you days ago, our Thursday was a wet one, and we're not in the clear just yet.
You're looking at a live image from ABC-7's Doppler radar, and it shows what we're dealing with right now. Our chief meteorologist, Doppler Dave Spillman, is walking us through the developments outside.
So you know exactly what to expect tonight. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us on ABC-7 at 6. I'm Estela Casas.
And I'm Rick Cabrera. Doppler, you're keeping us under that ABC-7 first alert.
Yeah, you know, we had it in all week, and we talked about our air mass was so tropical that any little ripple or disturbance or even sunshine that would break out would cause that air to rapidly rise. And we were seeing quite a bit of sunshine today, and the storm started to develop. And again, you could see some of the activity between Highway 54, Highway 70 in Doña Ana County, even Otero County. And then as you look at Hudspeth County, we have some showers and thunderstorms in and around Del City. Now, we do have flood advisories. If you actually live within this pink polygon, or purple, how it shows up on your screen, you are under that flood advisory. A flood advisory just means kind of nuisance flooding, minor flooding, not a danger to life or property. But again, we'll take a closer look at some of these storms, talk about your forecast coming up.
Doppler, thank you very much. We'll check in with you in a bit. No matter where you are in the borderland tonight, chances are you're talking about the storms we just got, the storms dumping rain right now, or what we could see in the next few hours.
10 minutes it's raining and 10 minutes it's windy, but that's El Paso.
I do like it sometimes, but not all the time.
We caught up with these El Pasoans in the central and east central parts of town today. At Altura and Copia, the rain washed down the mountain and quickly filled the drainage canals. Not severe in this neighborhood, but in other areas, human lives were at risk.
We know of 13 water rescues just in El Paso today. Most were people in cars stuck in rising waters. As the intersection of Dick Myers and Victor Lopez in East El Paso flooded, a clogged drain is to blame for 2 women being saved by firefighters. That's about a mile from Zaragoza and Vista del Sol. ABC-7's Darren Hunt continues our complete coverage live tonight. Darren.
Rick and Estella, residents tell us this street, Dick Mayers, floods every time that it rains. And it's all because of this rock wall built by a neighbor who doesn't even live here anymore.
Right here, all Dick Mayers was flooded with water. We saw the firefighters trying to rescue a lady because it was so full of water that she couldn't even get out of her car.
The fire department pulled 2 women from a car on Dick Mayers after they were stranded in more than 2 feet of water. These pics of the flooding were sent to us by a viewer.
It was really bad. As you could see, there's a truck over there, and even though water got right where the the bumper is, so it was really bad.
This has been an ongoing issue, yes, every year, every time it floods.
Let me show you what the problem is here along Dick Mayers and why the street floods. This drainage canal here was blocked by this rock wall. Neighbors tell me another neighbor who has since moved built this wall to keep teenagers from walking through this area, but he left this small opening. Once that clogs, this backs up, and you can see how deep it gets. Look at this water line. It's almost up to my waist, deep enough for someone to drown.
Even though there's not lots of rain and it's not flooding in other parts of the city because of the wall and because there's no drainage, the water piles up excessively.
Sarah Duarte lives right next to the drainage channel where her rock wall is deteriorating due to all the backup. What would you like to see done?
I would like the city to intervene and do something about it.
That rock wall needs to come down or some drainage needs to be put in.
Exactly.
Now, a spokesperson for the stormwater utility told me that the drainage easement here on Dick Mayers empties into a subdivision behind here that was previously in the county and annexed by the city. EPWU is currently investigating to determine what kind of improvements would reduce flooding in this area. Rick and Estella.
Okay. Darren, live with our First Alert coverage. Thank you very much. And new at 6, ABC-7 with video from Socorro in the Lower Valley, where the fire department had to clear trees from the 600 block of Richardson Road. Neighbors say the wind may have knocked them down. But Doppler Dave Spielman says they may have come down because the trees were weak and the ground was so wet it couldn't hold them up. Nonetheless, residents were startled.
That's why I got very scared. That's why I called you all to report this and tell them it is real bad down here.
Here in El Paso, the storm damage was minor to more severe, depending on where you were.
It also meant emergency crews were extremely busy today. ABC-7 made the calls, and we got these numbers to put the day's storms in perspective. El Paso police responded to 55 accidents today. 32 of those were traffic related. PD also responded to 12 water rescue calls.
El Paso firefighters were also busy. In just 2 hours from 9 this morning until about 11 o'clock, the fire department responded to 13 water rescues and 9 of those car wrecks that police responded to as well.
We also asked the El Paso Sheriff's Office, which reports 0 weather-related calls today. No word tonight if a breaking story out of Las Cruces was caused by the rain, but our New Mexico Mobile Newsroom says US 70 near Wisner Road got a heavy downpour earlier, and that's where a crash investigation is now underway. Our crew learned it happened on the frontage road headed west. They also sent us this picture from the scene showing the frontage road blocked off while emergency crews clean up the scene. Our photographer saw emergency first responders put a body into a van, not an ambulance. No official word on how many injuries from the Doña Ana County Sheriff's Office just yet.
ABC-7's First Alert coverage continues with what we're expecting this evening, plus more video of the soggy mess caused by the rain we already got. That's in just a bit. But first, we're learning more about the 2 men arrested in the murder of 2 people in Fabens and Clint. ABC-7 has a criminal affidavit which states the victims were a woman cheating on her husband and her alleged lover. Tonight, her husband, 37-year-old Vicente Cuellar, is charged with capital murder, and so is his friend, 31-year-old Alan Fraire. They were arrested 8 months after the victims were killed. Investigators say on December 7th, Maria Cuellar was found dead in a burned-out car in Fabens. ABC-7 file video shows the El Paso County Sheriff's Office set up a perimeter near the Fabens exit on I-10. At the time, the Sheriff's Office could only tell us that the death was suspicious. 2 days later, ABC-7 was on the scene of another investigation in Clint. That's where the body of a man was found near a pecan farm. The Sheriff's Office identified the man as David Miranda. Witnesses allegedly told investigators that Maria Cuellar was having an affair with Miranda. Documents state Vicente Cuellar lied to investigators about where he was when the victims were killed. Investigators say cell phone records placed them at the crime scenes.
El Paso City and county leaders continue to discuss municipal IDs to help undocumented immigrants obtain services. Yesterday, the City Council in Phoenix, Arizona approved a municipal ID program. ABC-7 reporter Evan Folan is live to compare and contrast the plans. Evan?
Rick, although our city and county leaders remain optimistic, funds are lacking. County Commissioner David Stout told me the initial investment for municipal IDs is about $800,000. With that being said, county commissioners budgeted $320,000 for the coming fiscal year to help fund the project. But City Council didn't budget any funds. City Councilor Lily Limon said taxes were already increasing for other priorities. Here, taxpayers in the city and county of El Paso would fund the startup of the ID program. Phoenix City Council members decided to go with a public-private partnership where a vendor would cover the costs and keep any profits. County commissioners and city councilors didn't want to use a third party. They said it would ultimately be a moneymaker.
I'm still optimistic that the city wants to move forward. The program really can't work without their help, without their support.
It's not that we're not in it, and we certainly want to have skin in the game because it is for the good of the entire community.
Limon says she hopes City Council will use salary savings after the first quarter to help fund the project. Stout said he's optimistic municipal IDs will be available by next August. Rick.
Evan, live in our newsroom. Thank you very much. Tonight's traffic closures around the city have been canceled. TxDOT says it's because necessary work was completed early. As for now, our ABC-7 traffic track gives you an idea of what you're up against on the roads right now. You see a lot of slowdown on Mesa around Executive Center. That's pretty much the norm in both the east and westbound lanes. On Mesa, that 8 mile per hour around Mission Hills. Also some slowdown around US 54 in those eastbound lanes of I-10. Again, that's those eastbound lanes near I-10 and US 54.
And if you're just joining us, Doppler Dave is keeping that first alert in place. He's keeping us all informed throughout the evening.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the showers and thunderstorms that are developing across parts of town. In fact, you can see some of the rain right here in Doña County, right along Highway 70. We do have, again, flood advisories. These is just some minor flooding that could potentially occur in this area. So you see right around the White Sands region as we take it a little bit farther down towards our southeast, just outside of Del City. Again, some rain. That flood advisory in place until 7:30 this evening. And again, once we start talking about our forecast, we'll take a closer look at what we expect for your Monday and Labor Day. That's all coming up, Rick.
Doppler, thank you. For those of you who are worried about the rain damaging your property, we have brand new information on how to get sandbags, and you cannot get them at the fire department. Details are coming up.
And we'll take you to El Paso's Upper Valley, where one business is underwater again, and those who work there are fed up. This is ABC-7 at 6, where news comes first.
We're watching ABC-7 at 6 with Estela Casas, Rick Cabrera, Storm Track Weather Chief Meteorologist Dr. Dave Spielman, and Trevor Thompson with sports.